So I am working there as a materials analyst, and this is a fixed term contract job. So this is for
Mhm.
a year.
Oh, okay, okay. So
So
you applied for this position and you got it. Looks like then.
yes,
Okay, got
yes,
it. Okay. So it's like a staff sort of a position, temporary staff
yes,
sort of position. Looks like.
yes. It's a kind of proper job. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand it. And so from your email, I understood that you are looking for a job and then you're having issues. Is that pretty much sum up?
Yeah, exactly. So
And and,
I
and, and you're
because this is
looking and you're looking
Mhm.
in. It looks like you are looking in UK, or is it a specific place?
Well, it's not specific to UK. It's more like anywhere, but it should be like well respected community, like scientific community, of course.
No, no, no. I'm saying in the place, like you're looking in UK, India, or somewhere
No,
else.
no, no. It's okay. So till now, I have just applied here in UK,
Hmm.
but that's not that specific. I mean, even not even just India and UK. I mean, that's okay anywhere.
Hmm.
But I was just trying to figure out like exactly what, like the kind of profile I'm looking for is in industry. So like that kind of profile, like what kind of expertise or maybe what kind of skill set they are looking for such kind of positions. So like I'm kind of still in academics. I am still not exactly in the industry. I'm just like partially transitioned to the industry, but
Hmm.
so the typical industry kind of job, like what kind of skill set or maybe attitude or like I don't know exactly what they
Yeah,
need.
yeah. No, no. I understand. I understand. I mean, I was a postdoc for two times. Then it was the same question for me because I guess I did my bachelor's, master's, and PhD at the same time. So I would say, not ready or comfortable going to an industry. It took me quite a while to understand what it is, and even when I got my first job. So I understand what you're saying.
So I saw your background was in materials, so I thought
Right,
like you
right.
might have gone through the similar stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say my PhD was on mechanics of materials, material characterization too. So I think I understand what you're doing, but more on
Mhm.
mechanical behavior side. I think you do more synthesis. It looks to me.
More like not synthesis actually. So the venture is more like providing the material characterization services for industrial
Yeah, yeah,
partners.
yeah, yeah.
So
Most of the universities have that, so I
yeah,
understand.
yeah, they
Yeah,
do.
yeah. It's like a
But
central
the
facility, and people go there, and you can do your stuff.
actually those kind of facilities are more like like we had it in IASC. So that was more like a
Hmm.
facility and students can also use it, and it was more like that. Like that was more like student dominating,
Okay,
academics
okay.
dominating, and this one is like more like industry dominating. It's a like proper business venture for industry or outside,
Uh-huh.
um like startups, these kind of um so the place where this office is situated, that place is actually university's official place for some of the startups and
Hmm.
these kind of ventures, like seeding these kind of ventures through university. So that's how like we have like that kind of clients a lot more.
Got it, got it. Oh, okay. So you never tried applying to faculty or things like that too, or you were primarily focused on looking into industry?
I am not interested in academics. I find it boring. I think I don't know. I
No.
mean, okay. So the thing is that life is
Ru-
interesting if
Rupali,
you
just to
have
let you know,
interest.
your camera is not working. So if you want to switch it off, that's fine too. So because it's gonna create a ruckus. I
Uh,
think it's like dark picture is coming there. It's all blank slate. Yeah. So
sorry about that.
no, no, that's okay.
Yeah. So academics is more like until or unless you have a proper that kind of academic institution where you have the option to carry on your research work or something. Otherwise, I don't find academics interesting. I mean, you
Uh-huh.
cannot just keep teaching stuff forever in like
Yeah, yeah.
entire life. So.
Got it. No, no, I understand. So I would tell you couple of things. I mean, one thing is for sure. If you ask me, I
Mhm.
I'm looking at your CV, and so here's the thing. I do most of the counseling I do is for students who are in US because that's where I have been growing up. But I have spoken a lot of students who are in UK also. So I don't know, to be honest with you, what's a visa situation looks like in terms of how easy for you to, as a someone who is working on, I don't know what kind of a visa you are working on right now, and how easy that visa is transferable to industry, or I won't be able to know a situation where how difficult is for industry is to apply for a what we call in US H-1B visa. So,
Mhm.
so as I said, I don't know that situation. Beside that, my opinion that I'm going to give it to you is just based on what I see in your CV, and so forth. So there might be some bias because, as I said, because I look into US, and honestly, I speak to a lot of postdocs. I have spoken quite a lot of students who came to US to do a postdoc from PhD from either IIT or ISC, and then looking for a job. And my advice for them is based on visa, because visa situation in US becomes a very big challenge. It's just not what you know or what your CV looks like.
Mhm.
So as I said, I won't be able to know that part of the problem, which in US is a bigger problem. And for that reason, a lot of postdocs who come from India, who have done their PhD from India, even though they are really good, they end up going back. I have a couple of friends actually. When I was a postdoc at Hopkins, they were from ISC, did PhD at ISC Bangalore. Um, and one guy, in fact, was a PhD from a very well-known scientist there, Nar Rao or someone. I forgot the name.
CNR.
Yeah, 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 CNR Rao. But as he said, he couldn't be able to find a job because, again, same thing, visa issue. And then he ended up going back. So he became a, I mean, he did a good. He became a professor at IC Bangalore. Another guy is a professor at IIT Indore now. So but so as I said, I won't be able to know that particular situation, Rupali here. But what I can tell you is, looking at your CV, I definitely would say it. There is nothing in there that uh, um, that that so industry is a very different. The way it works is a very different way, especially what happened after pre post COVID. Actually, to be honest with you, a lot of industry, if you look at the jobs or something, requires some sort of a required someone who have some hands-on knowledge of some sort of a computational tool. And that was true for me because I my PhD was completely experimental, and I was a completely experimental person. But what happened after COVID, it was very difficult to even stay in a current job or find a job where you don't know or you don't want to do anything that requires heavy computational, especially after I would say in last 1 year or two with this AI and all that coming into place. Lot of tools, lot of industries want to use those tools because of cost saving and all many other purposes, and that
Mhm.
is part of the reason. And I'm not saying as actually that the experiments are not required, but for industry to do that sort of a thing, or to have that sort of R&D lab where they have to manage $1 million SEM or something, it suddenly became undesirable because they
Hmm.
want to use these tools which can give them what actually and give them a quick answer. And so for someone like you or anybody for that matter, and saying, hey, I'm looking for a material characterization job, and I can run SEM, I can run TM, I can do EDAX, I can do this, that, became very became very less attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
all that work, if you ask me, has been given to universities and to all the sort of labs that you're talking about to for them to do, because
Mm-hmm.
it becomes a heavy overburden or overcost for our industry. So if
Right.
you ask me, we don't tend to do that sort of a job anymore. We I have seen it that we used to do. My first job actually was at Rolls Royce, and I used to manage a material characterization lab, and I was a development manager for a ceramic program. So we had a two SEMs and all that, but it was a very heavy cost for us to just maintain that. And so for that many reasons, a lot of these programs are very easy. And even now what we do is we give 20 30,000 dollars to a university or a center like what you are doing, and have a program with them, and let them do it. Actually, we don't even send our guy because that's become very expensive for us to send our own person to do that sort of a job. And honest to God, all these new PhD students, or a person who is doing a PhD or a master's student, does a better job. So what's the point of doing it? So having said that, if I look in your CV, then you can start seeing some of the red flags there. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying at all, don't get me wrong, and I want to talk to you honestly, that what you have done or what I see in your CV is undesirable. All I'm saying is had become less attractive. And for that reason, I mean, as I said, I will give you one another example. If you look 10 years back, and if you look for a job where they are looking for someone as a material characterization person, and I used to do that, and I have given interviews, you will see a lot of jobs where they say we are looking for a person who knows, how to run SEM or have done characterization, knows how to do elemental analysis and blah blah blah. But now if you look at the same jobs, you will find that they are looking for someone who can do data analysis, who can use who can who can do a lot of that stuff computationally, can work on digital twins and things like that. So as I said, things has become very different post COVID, in my personal opinion, if you ask me. And as I said, that doesn't mean that there will be no jobs like that, but that's my first assessment looking for your profile. Having said that, this is for you to figure it out, how to look for, how to figure out that visa situation, is a problem within your situation or not. That could be a bigger situation, because one of the thing I have realized is, I will give you example in US. Lot of students who do their PhD outside US, and then they are looking for a job in US. It's almost, I don't know anyone like that who had found a job in an industry. I know very few people in academics who have done their PhD in India and are in academic, but I don't know anyone in last 15 years I have been working in an industry that has done a PhD abroad and are working in an industry. Most of these students have done their education in US. So that data tells something, why it happens and what is the reason behind it. And that is someone that, as I said, the visa plays one huge role, because the students who graduate from US and are foreigners, like an Indian citizen, someone are have given a preference, and they get 3 year of OPT or something, and they utilize that. And I have done that, and that's how a lot of students do that, and that's how we are able to stay in US and find a job and move on. And that facility is not available for a lot of students outside. It is also true that a lot of industry that you are looking into, they look into, and they know if you are graduated from Rice University, or if you are graduated from University of Michigan or someone, they know that where they graduate from. So there is a sense of comfort also, rather than hiring someone whom they have no idea where they have done their education from. Maybe network could be another thing also that plays a role there. So I would say these are the factors that one should count for. and should look into very carefully when they are looking for a job. Um, in your case, I guess in UK that you are looking into. Um, so the way to deal with it, in my personal opinion, like for example, you have written here, right, area of expertise, and you have written lot of these things, and as I said, it comes with a cost. Like, do you think they're going to hire someone, an industry who has an expertise in TM, and how many times you see those positions? And if that is the case, I would say, why would you put that in there?
Hmm.
And that what one should look at into it. The way I have given my suggestion to anybody, let's say if you find a job, and that job is something that you think that you can perform better, or you like it, make sure that your CV is basically a carbon copy, or answer sheet to that requisition. And if it is not, then it's a problem. So for example, if they are looking for a person who is a computational, who is a for industry is looking for someone to to work as a material characterization person, right? And if there, one of the saying is says that a person should have a knowledge of machine learning, and then there are a lot of other things, and you qualify everything except this one, that could be something that can play a very negative in your case. Beside that, you already know that a person like you probably need to work 10 times more. So my question to you is very simple, that why would they hire you and not hire someone who has graduated from material science department from Cambridge? So you have to be different. You have to be one level up. And to be honest with you, you will find a lot of these students, especially in today's economy. And this year is extremely very difficult, at least in US, because the first quarter there have been a lot of layoffs. Even when where I work, we are seeing it. And so if that is the case, I would say, mm, how would you put yourself different? Because as I said, you, if you decide to work in industry, is very different than working in a characterization lab in a university. The role is going to be very different. That's one thing. And second thing I would also tell you is, a lot of your work, what you put in here is is very much about academics. Like this CV is like full of academics. It doesn't tell me what kind of a person Rupali is, whether she's a leader, what she has done different in terms of solving a problem. Like what problem you have solved, what is a problem solving skill that you solved. It looks to me that if I look at your CV, a work is given to you and you do it. And in industry that becomes very different, especially if you're talking about working for a good industry, a good brands. They are looking for someone who is a problem solver. They're not looking for someone that they have to tell them, hey Rupali, can you do this ABC, and you do ABC and you say, I'm going to go home now. It doesn't work that way. You have to tell, I can do this. You have to create a problem, you have to bring a solution, and you have to bring the money. And once you do that, that becomes your salary. That's how it works these days. Like for example, if you ask, in our case, we have to go and bid for programs, and then we get the salary. Nobody pays us for free. So we have to go to our customers, in this case, because I work for government, and define a problem. Said, I think you need this, and we have to justify that to them. And especially if you start working for consulting firm, they are ruthless. And as I said, and that's what I'm saying. Your CV, if I look at your CV looks very academic. Your CV looks that somebody's interested in becoming a professor. I don't see any leadership activities there. I don't see from your CV that, hey, Rupali had solved this problem. I don't see someone that Rupali has made a difference in by solving a problem, and what kind of a role she was in that solving a problem. and that really matters. And as I said, you can still play that role because you are fresh in PhD. Still, this is fine. But as you gonna go further and further, after a year or two, nobody's gonna buy that anymore, and they're gonna say,
So
enough is you have done your you have been outside. What do you have done? So my advice to you is when and I say that very often actually, if you watch some of my videos, is I would say that the CV is fine, but you probably have to create another CV. You probably have to come up with another CV saying that, hey, this is Rupali, which knows how to solve a problem, and
hmm.
that might be helpful for you. So
So this CV is actually made with the perspective in mind that I'm looking for a material scientist job. So that's why all the characterization and everything
no,
is
no,
placed there.
yeah, that's absolutely fine, Rupali. But as I said, you're looking for a job in industry. You're not looking for a job in a university as a material characterization, whatever it is. That's different because these guys need someone who can just go in a lab, do SEM, and then produce some pictures and move on to the next sample. It doesn't work that way in industry. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
So this AI and ML based stuff that you're talking about, so this field is vast. Like,
No,
so
no, I'm
what
saying
exactly
that
should I
I'm
be
saying
looking
that
for?
as a tool. Not I'm not saying you can become an expert in AI/ML. You are not a computational person.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is learn tools. जैसे what should I say? What examples to say? Just say, so for example, here's the thing. I am a because I have a PhD also, and I know a lot of people who have PhDs. They wear this big hat saying that I have a PhD, but that is garbage actually, because one of the worst thing that I know a lot of things happen is you don't know anything, and that has happened to me. I had to learn in a very hard way. We don't know any skills. We are basically out of a skill set, and then our ambitions are extremely high. So that's what I've been trying to tell you is learn skills. That
And
AI/ML is a tool that you can learn and learn how to solve a problem, and solve a problem in a better way that you have been doing it for now. I'm not saying tomorrow you gonna start working and suddenly start writing a code and in Python and do things. There are tools available already. Have you used those tools? Have you used those tools seeking that the way you've been doing the work now can be done in a much better way? That's what I was talking to you about initially, about solving a problem. I mean, that's what industry is. Any good industry is going to look at it and says, wow, we would like to hire Rupali. That's what my point is. If you go with this CV and in a very blunt way, they're going to look at it, they're going to say, oh my God, another CV from someone who has a PhD, and
mhm.
says nothing. You have to wow them. As I said, you have to see one thing you have to understand. If you're talking about getting a job in an industry, there's one thing getting a job, and the second thing would be can you sustain it for a longer time? Because these days, even if you get a job in an industry, keeping it for another 5 years is another challenge. Last 10 years, I have been in industry. There are two times I have been laid off and I have to find a job again. And you can find this is not just one story. Everyone's story is like that. If you look at in some other departments, even in IT, for example, you won't find a person who keeps a job more than 2 3 years. They keep on moving. A guy who has a 10-year experience in IT industry, or someone ask him or her how many jobs you have, they probably have 10 jobs by now. So that's how the world we live in. It's very very dynamic, and so you have to be the same way, and the thought process has to be the same way.
Hmm. Right.
I hope it makes sense.
No, it does actually. So the thing is, I have been in that typical academic environment. So I have not been in touch with industry people like at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly the kind of mindset it is like needed to be there. And
As I told you, everything looks fine to me. I mean, here's the thing. A lot of time, students ask me, especially PhDs, hey, do you think my CV is longer? And I will tell you one thing from my experience. I wanted them to show that I have written papers. I wanted them to show I have published. I wanted to show them I have presented papers. I wanted to show them that I have worked as a reviewer for a journal, because that's what I was supposed to do. How can my CV should not be different and have bring more quality, rather than a master's or a undergrad? So what you I see in your CV, there is nothing wrong. Just keep it that way. But what I'm saying is, you have to look at this into this, and whatever I just told you, probably probably as I said, have another CV, rephrase some of these things. Like, for example, a very simple thing is, you have done your PhD, right? I would like to know, what problem did you solve? What was the challenge there is? I will tell you one thing, and you will say that this is so true. Nobody knows about your PhD than you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, even your advisor doesn't know that.
Right.
So if you are the only person who knows about this thing, how the hell just writing a topic, somebody in HR able to understand it? For that HR, this is like a, how should I say, kala akshar bhains barabar. They will like, what the hell is this is? They probably won't understand it at all. But they will understand it if you're gonna write it. What was the statement of problem, and what did you do to solve it? Where were the gaps? Even I don't understand what this topic is, and I'm very
Mm-hmm.
close to, I can say
Right.
I'm very close to what your degree is. I have no clue what you have done. So by writing it, what difference is going to make? Like, this
Mm-hmm.
will be a waste of writing.
Right.
I'm not going to read it. No, not these people are going to read it. So just think for a while that you are an HR. And HR guys, these guys have a degree in humanity. Okay, they
Mm-hmm.
don't get a shit about science, but they are in the place to recruit people like you, and they go by words. And that's another key I want to talk to you about is, let's say if you look at into a CV, right? And let me it probably looks like we're gonna end in 10 minutes. So if, let's say, if this ends and if you still want to talk, just join it again. Okay,
Right. Right.
so let's say there is a CV there, and in that CV you can pretty much scan and see keywords. The keywords could be, let's say, TM, Python. The TM is leadership. The keywords is leadership and blah blah blah. Mm, You know, and that's what any AI bot which is recruited to pull out some of the CVs, or the HR person is going to look at. Does your CV, when you submit it, has all those? And if it does not, then your CV is not going to come out, no matter what, how good it is. So please be smart towards that also. So you have
Yeah,
to,
I take care of it's ATS, right? Application tracking system.
yeah, yeah.
So I take
So
care of
yeah,
that part. I
yeah,
tailor CV accordingly.
yeah, yeah. So make sure that you are doing all that,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's
I do.
important too. And as I said, it it should cover everything, not just one thing. And
Right.
as I said, besides coming back to the point, I would say, make sure that you are always asking this question, and probably that will help you to give a lot of answers. If you apply to a job, and there is someone who has a PhD from University of Leeds, and you have a PhD from University of Glasgow, who have a PhD from Cambridge or Oxford, is applying to the same job, why are they going to hire you? What is so different in your CV that they should hire you, considering, as I said, the visa is not a problem at all? Always
Right.
ask that question. And if you ask that question, most likely you will get an answer that what should I do here? And that's how things have been everywhere. And as I said, the first part of the story is to get a job. The second part is always going to be, can I stay with that job? And that's the reason a lot of time working for an academics as a faculty becomes much much fun, because then you don't, at least you don't have to deal with the so-called the scenario of where you have to worry about maintaining the job. I'm in US, I would say after tenure, and I don't know what happens in UK. So yeah, I mean, I would say just consider what I said to you. Put your thoughts together, and say, these are the things probably I have to look into, and you should be fine.
Mm-hmm. Right.
When did you wear in Banstali? 2010 to 12. My sister went there.
Oh, is it? Oh, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Which year?
Oh, she was a long time back.
Oh,
I
right.
think it's 20, 2005, I think. Yeah.
Right.
2005, 2006. Yeah. It was, they started a new program. So she did her master's there too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband both are at JNU now. Yeah, the
Right.
professor there. But anyway, long story short, look into this, and hopefully that's gonna give you answer. I said your CV is fine. If I was you, I will just put another CV. Try to put some new thing, and also a lot of time, one thing I would tell you again, in US, that's very important. They always ask you what else that you do, what your hobbies are, what's your, or did you have you participated in any sports or things like that, and that's always a fun conversation. See, one of the thing you will realize in industry, what happens is not that in industry everybody knows a lot of things, but they know how to talk. They
Right.
You will always find one thing with people who work in industry, especially up higher, they are such a fluid talker, and
Right.
that's what pays you. It's not about
Mm-hmm.
what you know, it's about, even if you
How
don't know
can you sell?
something, no, even if you don't know something, how would you put yourself there? And you will
Right.
realize these person are awesome, they are one of the best. And that's one thing that also something that's commendable to learn is is how you engage someone in a talk. Let me tell you, let's say, for example, I'm going to give you some interview advice here. If you go to someone for an interview and if you talk just blunt, I do material this, it becomes very boring. It can be quickly go to next. You should know how to engage someone. And a lot of time people say focus on knowledge and studies and all that. That's all good. I'm not saying that's not good, but you should know how to start a conversation. So, for example, hey, my hobbies is I really like watching football. And so what? So what is there? So what happens sometimes, these sort of a talk, they help you to ease out the other person.
Right.
So are you coming as like a wall, and then nothing is there, as if the other guy is banging his head in a wall, or you are such a smooth talker that the person doesn't know even how come the time flies.
That's right.
And that's very, very important. I have learned it in a job, how to do that, and I force myself, because I always used to think I'm gonna go do my business out. And that's
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
thing. No, no, that's one thing actually, that I will tell you one story where
But well, see, this isn't this the same story for every science student. I mean, I know it's my story as well. The same, like, do your business, keep your mind to your business,
I
and
think it's
like,
cultural also, I would say. It's
yeah,
just
that's
not
true.
a science student. I think it's cultural also, because the way we grew up, we are told ki kaam karo.
Yeah, yeah, true. Exactly,
You
agree
know what
with
I
that.
mean? So both usme, it takes some time also. But
True.
I would say ki that because you are not in Bombay anymore,
Yeah.
you are in Oxford, or you are in Kansas, you have to adjust with the environment. You have to adjust how to communicate and how to engage people. And you will
Right.
realize one of the thing what happens is, I will tell you another story. There was this guy has doesn't know a shit. Okay, बट बात करने को बोलो तो घंटों बीत जाएंगे, मतलब जस्ट अमेजिंग. to talk to. And as I said, this is something to learn. This is extremely important. And I think, here's the thing. I think in today's world where we talk about a lot of women empowerment, there is a talk about that. If a woman, I think she knows how can I communicate, I think that person can go a long way. Trust me. I think we live in a very different world um, where people really admire that. इट जस्ट नॉट नॉलेज सबके पास होता है. ट्रस्ट मी, एवरीबडी हैज नॉलेज. और अगर जिसके पास नहीं भी है ना, यू कैन टीच दैट पर्सन. तुम, आई कैन टेल यू, आई कैन पुट अ पर्सन हु हैज डन बैचलर्स इन साइंसेज, 1 साल के अंदर दैट पर्सन विल नो हाउ टू रन एस सी एम टी एम एनालिसिस, एवरीथिंग, सब कुछ आ जाएगा उससे.
True,
My
true.
point here is, what are you going to bring which going to separate you on the top if you have a knowledge that's icing on a cake. So just keep that in mind when you go for interview.
Yeah,
Don't come out as a wall, because that gonna, as you said, that's gonna not only problem in interview, but tomorrow if you're gonna go and engage with people and work with the people and things like that, you will realize that if you're not a person who can engage in a conversation, log bhagne lagte hain, and that's
yeah,
not
I agree
fun.
with that.
Yeah,
Of course.
yeah.
So looks like I need to work on my people skill.
No, everybody has to. I mean, that's a ongoing process. It's not like वो आपको करना है कि किसी और को करना है. It's like an ongoing process. Trust me. वो
Mhm.
and as I say, I will give you in my last promotion, I was dying to get a promotion. It's like, okay, यार 2 साल हो गए हैं इस पे. I need to get a promotion. I was keeping talking to my director. Every time he's like, yeah, ये वो. But then I said, okay, let's talk about ki, where's the problem coming? And the feedback I got is, Amit, you are very good in technical. You do know what your job is, blah blah. But I think you are very straightforward.
Oh, they don't
So
like
I'm
that.
like, straightforward होना एक problem है.
It's good. It should be a good thing, but it's
No, that's
not.
what I, no, no. So you have to understand. I don't care what good or not. I